Billy, why were you so excited by your Bezos sighting or your Bezos reporting? I don't think you actually cited him, but we are now treating a rich man like he is a very giant celebrity just because
he is a celebrity. Is he not a celebrity?
No, but it's just because he makes a lot of money. Like, he's not famous for anything else. He's just famous for being rich. Like,
well, I mean, he's not famous just for being rich. He's not like Kim Kardashian, right? I mean, I guess she's famous for other things too, but like he's a businessman. He figured out how to, bookstores are dying. I don't know if you heard. Bookstores are dying everywhere, in part because of him. But bookstores are dying everywhere. And he said, you know what? I have this online bookstore, but also I can send you a stapler, and I can have it to you by 10 a.m. tomorrow.
Magic.
Yeah, it's incredible. And this is a man that, everybody knows, one of the world's richest men. And I was sent an article. I don't know why. I was sent an article by my father, who saw it. The Miami Herald wrote this article. Jeff Bezos, unfortunately, his mother passed away a few weeks ago. And the article wasn't about his mother or eulogy. It was more a story about how his mother's funeral, again, one of the world's richest men, most famous men who, grew up down here. His mother's funeral was at the funeral home next to Tropical Park, Caballero Rivera.
No!
Yeah. Yeah.
No!
Same place
That's
that
where,
my grandparents' funerals were.
My abuela Aida is buried there.
Yeah. Well, she's not buried there. It'd be weird. Under a building. It's a funeral home.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. The one right by Tropical Park.
Yeah, so the wake was there, and there was almost like paparazzi photos of him going in with his new wife into this, just funeral home where a lot of old human people, for the most part, just go and have their wakes.
We need to send Tony over there to do a live hit from over there so people can see what it is the Caballero Funeral Home actually is.
Not to make this morbid, but that's also where Jose Fernandez's wake was. It's a who's who of famous wakes.
Wow.
Exactly where I thought we were starting today.
It's time to put on a suit and roll out the carpet. Crank up the tube and gather near. It's the best time of the year, so keep your dial right here. It's me and you and me again at the Sooies. The greatest of laughs, mistakes, and best revelations. And so much more. Brought to you by the greatest beer. It's the best time of the year, so keep your dial right here. It's me and you and me again at the Sooies. And every day you're gonna go to a website to vote on the sounds that brought you cheer. 'Cause it's the best time of the year, so keep your dial right here. It's me and you. It's me again and it's you. It's me and you and me again at the Sooies. That kind of thing.
Chris, were you looking at your father's face throughout all of that? Like, your father is never happier, never more radiant than when something is about him. That is as happy as I have seen your father. Tell me the last time that you were that happy. At your son's wedding?
I mean, isn't that human nature? I'm featured. I hear my voice singing. What could be better?
Were you watching your son's wedding video after the fact, thinking to yourself, man, this should have been more me?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Of course.
Does your wife, do they know that they were raised and love a man who is a serial narcissist this way, that makes every single thing about him, including his son's Father's Day, which is now should be about your granddaughter?
See, I blame my late parents. I'm sorry, Mom and Dad, but they encouraged that. I remember driving around with Mom and Dad at a very early age singing The Game of Love, which was a big hit at the time.
What were they encouraging?
they were encouraging me to perform, to sing, to do little shows for them, and I grew up to be whatever the hell I am.
They saw you as a star.
Yeah, I think so.
I have a clip here of my dad reading one of the nominees, and in this clip, it's him reading about himself. You can hear, kind of like Pablo, you can hear him smiling while reading a clip about himself.
When your father is delighted by only himself, you can absolutely hear the smile in his voice.
Greg Cody dismisses youth sports teams for not earning donations.
You can hear him like Greg Cody crushes youth sports team. You can hear the smile.
The Sooie winners are going to be announced today. I suspect that your father has won some. How long is that montage of your father just screwing up all of those Sooie readings?
We have a minute 35 of my dad screwing up all the lines he had to read, and then we have a 5.5-minute montage of all the winners.
All right. Well, before we get to the winners, let's just play the montage of because let's celebrate today because we've got to put the Suoies away. And now it's not just that we're sprinting toward football season. Pablo's going to drop another Pablo, and it's a bomb. Like Pablo's going to.
What is it?
Well, we can't talk about it yet.
You'll tell me off air?
I can't even tell you off air because it's going to be the story of the week, though. It's going to be a big Pablo drop.
Why don't you trust me?
Bigger than any of previous Pablo drops.
Wow.
Yeah, we'll see.
And so that's the expectation, and we will see if that happens or if he underdelivers.
Subject matter?
I can't tell you that. Again,
Hashtag wait to see.
Not even a hint, huh?
Yes,
Wow.
he is merging with the New York Times and the Athletic, and on a football week, I think he's going to have the talk story in sports.
There's this tension that you yourself have created in this office, and I don't know if you're aware of this, Dan. There's very much a case of the haves versus the have-nots, and it started today where the haves know what this Pablo story is, and the have-nots do not, and it's being talked about like, oh, we need to plan and do this and that, and and it's going to be this huge thing, and then everyone's like, what the hell is going on? Do you know?
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on.
Zaz doesn't know. Zaz looked at me. He's like, do you know? I was like, Zaz, buddy, welcome.
It's not a.
I thought this was an inclusive place. I feel exclusive.
It's not a haves and have-nots story. It's that evidently it was some work that Samson and Amin had to do with Pablo and for Pablo. And so they were, I guess it's not haves and have-nots, but I guess that there were multiple layers to this story.
Damn, I thought we were definitely doing a have and have-not thing. I was kind of reveling in it. I definitely know.
Mike's a have.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, they didn't want to tell me, and I did not want to know.
I'm left out.
But now I have to get involved because there are legal matters, and because we're starting something with the New York Times, and because I think Pablo's going to drop a Pablo here, and I think it's the biggest story Pablo has had.
I know what the story is.
No, you weren't there.
I don't know what the story is.
I pulled Dan aside before the show, and we were just talking like, how great is it that we know this? Yeah.
They were talking like we weren't even in the room. Carl, what do you think? What are we going to do for this? Just like if we weren't even, like we were ghost people, they were talking around us.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
We made it seem like Carl knew too, but Carl doesn't know.
Wow.
Yes. We're the haves here.
Okay, all right. So
Ethan asked, why are they saying it? I'm like, Ethan, they're afraid you're going to scoop Pablo, bud. That's why they're not saying it. They don't trust you.
Yeah, but Ethan can't be trusted here.
I've got to tell you, this was all by design. This was exactly what Dan was going for.
So Greg Cody was reading the Sooies. He was the host of the Sooies. It was a spectacular Sooies, but we're about to leave them behind as we go into football. Got a lot to get to with Zaslow because he was in the middle of the big games in his suite. Lucy was in the middle of everything. The University of Miami is in the middle of everything. But first, let's just listen to Greg Cody. He's not always smiling during this. I've seen him enraged. He yells at his son. I see you, Chris. I see you and your dad recreating.
Jeremy, that's Greg breathing. You just asked me back here.
Who's breathing?
It's
is what I
awesome,
asked.
awesome breathing.
Holy cow.
Pardon me for
Awesome
living.
breathing.
A little
Pardon me
safety
for
blanket.
living.
It's a nice little reminder he's still kicking.
Thank you.
Awesome breathing.
Thank you. I appreciate that, everybody.
He was a giant nostril. Why are you winded? We all heard
I'm not
it.
winded.
Hey, you're not allowed to say, Greg, get in front of the mic, and then not be okay with the ramifications of that.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So-
when I sit back here, everybody yells at me.
All right, so fair enough.
Ridiculous.
You know what? Fair enough.
Okay.
We hadn't accounted for the size of those nostrils.
Cody nostrils and
His
ears.
parents used to encourage him to breathe.
Thank you. I've been breathing every day of my life. I don't know about the rest of you.
Well, yeah, the rest of us have too.
Oh, well, what are you complaining about then?
The pot kettle situation. Greg.
Hank Azaria would tell you that being a voice actor can be hard because of the number of takes of things. And Greg Cody, during the Sooies, this is a lot of work. He's doing a lot of work. He's doing a lot of reading. And he's recreating the dynamic I have with my father on television, which is he's getting furious at his son for his son just asking him to keep doing the job a little bit better. A father does not like to be corrected like this when he is stubborn and male as Greg Cody is or as my father is. And so Greg also gets mad while smiling while reading his name. So let's just hear the mess ups of Greg Cody.
You know what? Hang on. I'm not plugged in yet.
What is going on with you?
Okay, here we go.
And now the hang on. Stugotz dismisses Shohei Ohtani.
Hey,
What?
Shohei Ohtani.
Tony Kaladiu limited fake Nikola Jokic. Nah. Dan Le Batard disrespects Black History Month while talking to PK Subban. Did I pronounce that right?
PK Subban.
While talking to PK Subban. Greg Cody dismisses youth sports teams for not earning donations. Greg Cody dismisses Gary Furman. Nobody knows who Gary Furman is. Gary Furman's in the same category as,
I'll leave that in.
please don't. How do you want me to pronounce Tataz? Oshia Jackson Jr.
O'Shea.
Pat Ford. Is it Ford or 40? Ford. Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr?
You don't know Steve Kerr's name?
I mean, you know, that kind of thing. Stormy Daniels.
Scroll down past laughs.
Hang on, it's making me jump through hoops here. Hang on.
Are you jumping through hoops? Is that what you're doing?
All right. Dominique Foxworth played through spinning. Dominique Foxworth. Diamonds look like pee-pee. Andrew Siciliano, right? Siciliano.
Perfect. Take the rest of the day off.
Thank you.
Nobody knows who Gary Furman is.
You want me to say Tetas or Tataz or?
That is not true.
I mean, down here they do.
There's a fake Gary Furman lurking around during Mike's 5-hour marathon sessions to preview University of Miami Notre Dame, and he's dirty.
And for the record, he just did a rewatch of Sex and the City. Still holds up.
There's a fake Gary Furman sneaking around Mike Ryan's chat. I think Mike Ryan essentially got this game right when he predicted what he did about the University of Miami. And I will get to that story later in the show because we did discuss it some yesterday. Welcome back, Ruben Bain. God, it was nice to see a defensive player for Miami. Well, he's a pretty good player, but also it was sort of weird that he wasn't that player last year, that their defense was that bad with him in it. And to see Ruben Bain do that to that offensive line was super exciting and almost as exciting as, they can be a physical defense and not get a ton of penalties and not make a lot of dumb mistakes. Wait a minute, did they fix their defense in one game, or is that a first-time quarterback that doesn't make them pay for their mistakes? Because it looked like they fixed their defense.
I mean, and Ruben Bain in particular, I felt like I was watching the best defensive player in the country. He was incredible. He was in the right. I know, why was he on that side of the field when the ball was kicked in the air? But it's like he was around the ball. He was around every play the entire game.
He was swarming the ball. He was hustling. That ball should have been intercepted 3 different times. It was hilarious that Ruben Bain not only intercepted it, but then ran 15 yards. But Ruben Bain's, I was listening to someone from PFF talk about Ruben Bain's performance on Saturday. Ruben Bain's freshman year, he had the second best pass rushing grade for a true freshman in the history of PFF, only behind Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett was the only freshman pass rusher to ever impress PFF that much.
For the record, and we saw it, you could see it with your eye, right? Calais Campbell did some of this too. His first year, you were looking at him and saying, can that be Jerome Brown category of pass rusher where this guy's going to get physically stronger and he's already that much bigger and faster and stronger than everybody, but he was not at all that player last year.
I have to correct you, Dan. He's not bigger than everybody. Like, he is put together. He is incredibly strong, but his size is not prototypical there. In the same way, I'm not drawing comparisons. I think Aaron Donald's the best offensive player I've ever seen. But Aaron Donald, the measurables, it's the reason why he wasn't taken number 1 overall. Ruben Bain has to make up for some deficiencies with his body type. But last year he got hurt on like the 3rd snap against Florida, missed several games, and his body never got fully fit after that. This offseason, got a nutritionist, got healthy, and we're seeing the guy that won that game almost single-handedly against Clemson his freshman year.
Chris, can you hear his breathing?
I mean,
Can you hear
I
his
don't want to
breathing?
stop the show, but it's just I can't
I
concentrate.
can barely
on
hear
anything
Mike.
else.
Why are you winded? Can we put what Ruben Bain, the game plan, he wrote it in his notebook. We've got exclusive access.
We
to
decided last minute that we're not going to show this. A lot of curse words. We can describe it for the people.
No, it's just bleep ND, bleep ND, bleep ND.
Yeah, but the bleep is shown.
My favorite is bleep Notre Dick.
It looks like what a
creative.
12-year-old would
Yes,
do to a
it's-
composition
yes,
book.
It is a notebook from a dirty 12-year-old that's hiding this from their parents. They've just learned curse words.
This is him very much appearing like he's in a film room. He takes his notebook out to take notes as he's watching film, and one of the notes is bleep Jeremiah Love, bleep Notre Dick. And at one point, he writes down an initial number on the sack total, and then after watching the film, scratches it out and then lands on 3 sacks. Yeah. Now, he only got a half sack, but he impacted the game more than any other defender.
My favorite part of this journal is just like you used to when you were in school. He's got the date in the top right corner. Yeah, everybody knows when you're in school, you got to put the date in the top right corner.
But then also at the very bottom where he wrote it again, he had 8/31/25 at the top where he dates it. But then at the bottom, just to remind himself, August 31st.
Yeah.
You can't put that out on social media. I don't want to be the wet blanket here, but if Ruben Bain is not the player he is, a coach is going to say, "What are you doing? Never do that again." But because he's the best defensive player on the team and one of the best in the country and a top 10 NFL draft pick, they go, "Hey, that was funny, Ruben. Keep it up."
In fairness, we don't know what the coaches were saying in the meeting, so he might have been taking notes.
Bleep Notre Dick? I've never heard Notre Dick before.
Possible.
Can you guys can you guys censor this some so that people can see that this is a piece of notebook paper? This is not a game plan, okay? This is a child who is scribbling and is like, yes, I'm going to wreck Sunday night because Miami's defense is back. Before we get to all of the Miami things, though, that we have not talked about, because I also want to get to Inter Miami. And Notre Dame and Miami was so big that we've got Luis Suarez spitting on a Seattle staffer, as Billy said yesterday. They're called the Staffers. Yeah, they're the league's Gold Cup champions, 3-0. They won the trophy that confuses me.
League's Cup.
Yeah,
called it a Gold Cup.
And I said it, not Billy.
Yeah. Second year tournament, a lot of heritage there.
Yeah. People are pissed, dude. I follow a ton of Inter Miami accounts, and I have very rarely seen fans this upset at a team. Its leadership. Zaz, when you mentioned Inter Miami before on our show, you kind of admitted that you were uneasy about how unlikable they are, and they played into it.
I was like half joking when we did this like a week or two ago. I'm like, I don't think I like this team, because it feels like they're constantly cheating or they're skirting the rules. They just feel dirty, and I was like half serious, half trying to be funny, and then you see what happened on Sunday night, which, I mean, I didn't watch the game because I'm watching the Canes, but you see the clips afterward. And Luis Suarez, who's got a reputation anyway.
Oh, wait, a reputation. He bites. He's bitten people.
Right.
Bad dude.
Right. He's got a reputation anyway. It's one of these guys who's like, really? Now I got to cheer for Luis Suarez? And he's on Inter Miami now? All right, fine, I guess so. And then you got this melee after or late in the game. They called it with a little bit of time left. Not only did Inter Miami get their shit kicked in and they lose 3-0, but then you have this super team who's fighting Seattle. They're not fighting some club from overseas. They're fighting the Seattle Sounders. And then you have Luis Suarez, who straight up spits in the face, not even of another player. I don't know if that would make you feel better, but in the face of a staffer. And you got Sergio Busquets, who's actually throwing punches out there. I'll tell you something. I'm out on this team. I think I'm out. I'm out on Inter Miami.
Are you out or you think you're out?
No,
say it or don't say it.
That's a good question.
It's not I'm out, I think I'm out.
Yeah, out or not?
No, are you? Wait a minute.
Make
You
a
got
decision.
caught up in
Good
the air
question.
there. Look,
Or is this conveniently timed because football season's starting?
Yeah, let us know when you decide.
Another
Baz.
good question. I'm going to decide right now. I am out on Inter Miami. I'm out.
Wow.
They're so
Forgivable.
no, not the right sound.
You guys missed the
They're
Unforgivable.
so unlikable, this Inter Miami team.
It was the breathing.
This happened 2 days ago, all right? Has anyone from Inter Miami said anything yet? Has Luis Suarez said anything yet?
This is an important point. What
no
Zazzle's
one has said
making.
anything yet.
Yeah, what Zazzle's saying right now is part of the reason why a lot of fans are upset is that where's the communications from the media relations
Their
team?
media relations has always been awful, and now you have this here where you're not even giving out a team's not giving a statement when it's on video for everybody to see. He is straight up spitting in the face of another person.
There was also a really ugly clash among supporters in the streets of Seattle. I don't think there's ever been a stranger pair of colors to be seen in the streets fighting than pink and neon green.
Yeah, ugly, terrible.
And it's like they're afraid of doing or saying anything because it might upset Messi. Like that's why they haven't said anything yet.
Right.
Because if they scold Luis Suarez, what's Lionel Messi going to say? It's like I don't like this team. I don't like this team.
No, the league
Outer Miami.
The league needs to do something about Luis Suarez's behavior.
No, they're afraid too.
It needs to be very punitive. That was straight up BS.
He'll be
from
suspended.
Luis Suarez.
Well, what are they waiting for? Any more evidence?
Maybe that's what Pablo is going to talk about.
It is not.
Oh, hey, I can also tell you with conviction it is not. We know.
When's the next tournament that this team is in?
MLS playoffs would be the next tournament.
When's that start?
Probably during like a huge football weekend, and you won't be able to watch it
Right,
anyways.
yeah,
because
nobody will notice.
You'll be watching a bigger game.
By the way, they play Seattle again in less than 3 weeks, so that'll be must-see
Winner gets
TV.
the cup?
No. You know what? Let me say something about all this controversy, okay? The reason people are all upset about Luis Suarez spitting and them losing this game and the brawl and all that stuff is that they continue to underperform on the field. I'll say it. Inter Miami has been a massive disappointment thus far in the Lionel Messi era. Not on the business side, but on the field. The way they lost in the first round of the playoffs last year, the way they lost this Leagues Cup. Now they did get to the quarters of the FIFA Club World Cup, which was nice.
Getting into a cup final is also no small achievement. They do have 2 trophies to their name in the time that he's been here. That may not be enough, and I think the gold standard, from what I've gathered from casual fans, is he needs to win the MLS championship in the postseason.
Yeah, and they failed so miserably last year that this has to be better. But the President's Cup doesn't matter, or whatever the hell they call it, the Supporters' Shield.
Not the league's Gold Cup either.
No, the League's Cup doesn't matter. The Supporters' Shield doesn't matter. They're nice little trophies. They're not what you hang your hat on.
What do you want them to win? The World Cup?
I want them to win the MLS Cup, the league championship of the league they play in. Despite all these ancillary tournaments, they need to win the main cup, which is the MLS Cup.
I feel that we are missing what seems like a hugely symbolic sports team in the middle of today's America, right? Today's America with all its divisions and all the places where, of course, you have to cater to Senor Lionel Messi for whatever he wants because he's the whole reason anyone's talking about soccer. Now, this diminishes MLS, but him running that sport while behind a paywall and while that business doesn't bring the traffic that they thought it was going to bring. They're making a stadium here right near the airport with like a ton of precious land, the most valuable land there is right next to the airport, to support this team that now represents Miami, for better or for worse. And we got to do it on our team that he glosses over a lot when he says he's got a reputation. He bites people. Like he's a biter. It's plural. He bites people, plural.
On grand stages.
And he spit in someone's face, and he's representing Miami horrifically here at this time.
He also scored 20 goals last year.
At this time in America, spitting in someone's face. At the center of that.
I don't think there's ever a good time to do that.
No, but how many of the greatest sports controversies? I remember Roberto Alomar doing this. This has been done in football a couple of times. Romanowski does it. People who spit in your face, like no matter what level of savage you are, we all understand that's a disrespect that can't be abided by anybody.
I actually think maybe you could argue it was a good time to do that because it was during Miami Notre Dame. I got around to I was alerted to it on yesterday's show that we did for YouTube, and it's a real ugly scene, but I think Zaz is really speaking for the local South Florida fan because one of the tether among all these Inter Miami accounts that are complaining is they feel disenfranchised. They feel like they've been boxed out as this club goes for the marquee and gets influencers on the sideline. They can't afford to go to the games. They don't necessarily think that this club is fan-friendly. That narrative is out there, and the more unlikable that they become on and off the pitch, the less results that there are, the volume gets turned up on, hey, we were your day ones. Before Messi and all that came over here, this was about a community, and you've kind of forgotten about that.
I was way in the first few years. I had season tickets the first 4 years of the team. I was way in those first few years. What they got going on right now, it's the first year that I haven't been a season ticket holder. What they got going on right now, I don't dig it. Like, I don't like this team. I don't like this team.
How do you feel about that, Cody, that you've got something happening? What are you laughing about?
Just because it's insane. I was on this team before it became popular.
That's
they got
right.
the greatest soccer player in the world. Now I'm out. They did too much for me.
What do they do for me? They
They
did
got
nothing
you
for
the
me.
greatest soccer player in the world.
They haven't won anything.
Yeah, I'm not arguing with you
They
on
have.
that.
They've won 2 trophies, and I think making it to the FIFA Club World
Billy's
Cup
right, though.
elimination stages is as impressive as anything an
It is.
MLS team has ever done.
More impressive than the 2 trophies
Right,
they won, in
but
my
we
opinion.
all look. The standard, you guys can't dispute this. The standard is Messi win the big one.
Yes, right.
Based down to its basest of stupidity.
100%.
Messi,
Well, it's not just Messi and your super friends that you brought in.
I want to
The
see.
spitter
I want
and
to
the
see
biter.
Messi's face as he scrolls through social media, as Dan Le Batard says, "Messi win the big one," and he's like, "Which one is he
No,
talking about?"
I'm not
The
doing-
MLS Cup.
That's the problem. He's not committed to this league. If we're going to be honest, Greg, you're with me on this one. If he wants to cement his legacy, he's got to win an MLS Cup. Because all the other things that he's done to fail on the lowest of stages, the MLS, is an embarrassment. You can't succeed on the biggest of stages and puke all over yourself every year on the smallest of stages, which is what's been going on.
It's not
Greg?
just spitting in the face. It's 3-0. You're losing 3-0, and you're just
3-0.
a baby.
What I'm saying is that if they won the MLS Cup last year, instead of taking a national crap in the first round against the lowest seed, if they won last night or Sunday night instead of losing 3-0, it's a minor story. The brawl, the fans brawling.
No, the spitting in the face should be a big story. That should never be a minor story.
You don't think it'd been a big story if they won 3-0 and then they still had the brawl?
I don't think it would be nearly as talked about as now.
I totally disagree.
Okay, I think what you're hearing on the group chats with Inter Miami fans right now is because they continue to disappoint on the field. That exacerbates everything you're talking about in terms of, they're not fan friendly. They don't treat their fans right. We've been here since the beginning. Everybody would be thrilled if they had won as much as they were expected to when Messi signed with this team. They haven't. They've underperformed.
Then they skip the All-Star games. They're at Coldplay concerts. They're buying groceries at Publix. Like, let's focus on soccer already, you know?
I can feel the audience. Okay, at this point in our careers, doing this for as long as we've been doing it, complaining about soccer talk, even if it's a spitter, and Luis Suarez, even if it should be a big story, because it's football time, and everyone gorges and wants to gorge more on this week of NFL football after the insanity of this weekend in college football. And so excuse me for not bowing at the beginning of this show to Mighty Football and the specifics of what happened with last night with Bellichick, which has no precedent. It has no precedent in the history of American sports that he would allow more points than he ever has in a game.
It's awesome.
And,
Delicious.
And that everybody would watch. It's like watching Bear Bryant or Vince Lombardi or something just stripped to its nudist, almost like outside that door that Pablo sniffed out and that Ring camera that Pablo recreated. You know what I learned about Pablo? I asked him this weekend. I'm like, when you recreated Belichick leaving the room, did you not think to take your shirt off in the recreation, or were you embarrassed? And I heard they debated it for hours in the Pablo Torre Finds Out universe, and he wouldn't do it because he's a coward. He wouldn't do it shirtless. They did think about it, and he didn't recreate it that way. Belichick has never been undressed like that before in the history of us watching football. A coronation, a celebration. He's a small underdog at home against a TCU team that is usually nationally relevant, and you see right off the bat how far behind he is. Something I thought of last night that I didn't believe a lot of people were thinking of. North Carolina last year produced the single most surprising half of football that I saw in college football last year. At home, they were losing to James Madison and allowed 52 points at the half against a James Madison team that finished third in the conference.
I mean, I think if you wanted to see North Carolina fail, it worked out perfectly, right? In that first drive, all the hype was coming in, like, Belichick's going to come in, he's going to change everything. You're like, I've never seen anything. I can't prove it. And then the first drive, they drove right down the field, like, oh, my God, we're great. Like, if you're a North Carolina fan, we're great. Michael Jordan's high-fiving people. Everybody's so excited. And then the rest of the game happened.
I got to tell you, it's been quite the offseason leading into this debut for UNC for Bill Belichick, and a lot of people have questioned his legacy. Nothing has made me doubt his legacy more than him settling on Freddie Kitchens is a good guy to run my offense.
Why would anyone have expected different? I'm not talking about last night, but like this season, they're going to stink, all right? UNC's going to stink, and Belichick's going to stink. And you know how I know this? Because his entire coaching career, if he doesn't have Brady, he stinks.
Yeah.
They're going to stink.
Yeah.
And I have actual evidence to support this. If Tom Brady is not his quarterback, his whole career, he sucks. And they're going to suck.
Yeah, and people are going to laugh at him nationally because he's not likable. Unless you live in or around Boston, you don't like Bill Belichick.
I don't think they like him so much in Boston these days.
You could be right.
Well, we've never seen, never. It has no precedent. Bill Belichick unraveling throughout this offseason in a way like everybody's looking like, what's happening over there? Comes to the college game and triggers, because this was the thing that I was thinking about that I thought was funny is like, oh, okay, look how they do it in North Carolina when it's Chapel Bill for the Deion Sanders celebration. That doesn't look like what Deion Sanders was doing in Colorado. That's Bill Belichick getting in the game with the fame and the name, but through management, right? Deion did it through player. Belichick did it through management. I kept thinking, do people understand that North Carolina was as bad last season as Colorado was bad when Deion inherited Colorado? Right. What Deion did the first game out when he beat TCU.
I've never seen a graphic like that in my life, by the way. I was watching that, and I was thinking, man, this is a really bad quarterback, no? And they put a graph damn near 2 hours after his last completed pass. They time-stamped it. Last completed pass, 8:12 p.m. Eastern. That's one of the worst quarterbacking performances I think I've ever seen at the P4 level.
That was at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. It had been over an hour and 15 minutes since a completed pass.
Not good, Dan.
But where does the game pass you by the spectacle that his offseason was, the cost of what it was to get Bill Belichick and that name to North Carolina? People disrespect how hard it was to do what Deion Sanders did, taking a team in Colorado that was what this North Carolina team was and making them beat that worse. Making that TCU team, beating this TCU team, which created an expectation for last night that while it was erased after the first drive, all of you were on the first drive like, well, Cowherd. You saw Colin Cowherd's tweet. Colin Cowherd, who has mastered the troll business of how do you get the engagement by being wrong because nothing that you say actually matters. Wasn't really sure what to expect from Chapel Bill, but after that drive, I have him as the second best college coach I've ever seen.
You think he's trolling?
Just below Saban. I think he's trying to be funny.
And failing.
I think he's being serious.
But I don't think he minds being historically wrong. I think he said great hyperbole about Arch Manning as well. Lewis, I don't know if you ended up finding that tweet, but there was a tweet from Colin Cowherd from I think 2024. The wrong business pays well. It doesn't matter when everyone's talking, right? I don't know. You guys did Gilbert Arenas just hire Skip Bayless? Are they together now? Like that's
business
how
partners, yeah.
That's how that one ages, where you just go out at the end trolling people and wrong doesn't end up mattering in any way. They're not. People will still associate Colin Cowherd forever with sports. It doesn't matter how wrong he is. That's just sports people overreacting to thinking that right and wrong matters.
Gilbert Arenas got rated a couple weeks ago, right? That's just done.
No,
that was resolved.
I mean, he turned it into content.
Overrated or properly rated?
Probably rated.
How can you be more wrong than this? This was before. This was when Kyle DeBoer took over for Nick Saban. I'm sorry, Kalen DeBoer.
Who cares? He's got to earn it.
That was probably right after the Georgia victory, right? September 28th. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It wasn't such a crazy thing to say that day. That was a great performance from Alabama that game.
and
it was.
A year later, you can just say, I was just kidding.
But then they lost to Vanderbilt the very next week.
Yeah. Alabama's now 5-5 in their last 10.
Yeah.
According to CFB on Fox on Twitter, through just 14 games at Alabama, Kalen DeBoer has matched the unranked loss total that Nick Saban tallied over 235 games.
Dan,
4 unranked losses.
Kalen DeBoer has lost 4 games so far as coach of Alabama where they've been a 2-touchdown favorite. Lost the game outright.
Saban was 131-2 in those games as a 14-point favorite.
That was some performance against FSU.
Mike, how did it happen? Because I will get more into Bellichick over the course of the show. But how did it happen? Did you ever give your public opinion? Because you were talking for 5 hours on your show, and you were also talking here, but I don't think I ever heard publicly you think that FSU was bad.
No, I never got that take out there, and I'm grateful because, everything that I had heard from FSU had reminded me so much of like when Miami thought that they were good and they would get smacked in the face by bigger teams, from the undersized quarterback saying Nick can't save them now, to saying FSU is the best defense, to shutting the media out and just people reporting on vibes. I thought it was going to be a bad moment yet again for FSU and Mike Norvell. Couldn't have been more wrong. Couldn't have been more stunned by a result. Castellanos didn't need to throw. Gus Malzahn, I don't know how he's surprising folks with his offense, but Alabama came out completely unprepared to play. And credit to the fans at the newly renovated Doak Campbell Stadium, which actually has fewer seats now. They were loud. They affected that game. ACC, actually, I thought there was going to be a well-established narrative going into that Miami-Notre Dame game where the ACC was a joke, and they performed relatively admirably despite Clemson losing at home.
Yeah, that game was awesome. And then you see the entire crowd storm the field after the game.
They got fined, right? They take
50,000.
50 grand.
I'm a little conflicted with the storming the field in that spot. Storming the field jumped the shark so many years ago. It does not have the same meaning it used to. You're FSU. You've won national championships. Right. I understand you were unranked and they're number 8 and they're big bad Alabama. You've won national championships. You're storming the field? I don't know about that.
The only fans who should storm the field at the only time they should do it is if you win a national championship. Then there's no more games next week. Storm the field. Do whatever you want. But that, for the first game of a season, you're beating a down Alabama team that's about to fire its head coach a year from now. Why celebrate that like you did? $50,000. It's ridiculous.
Greg's getting off his old man takes here. Like, he's getting off the storm the field, the notebook. You don't write that in a notebook. Like, you're getting off some serious old man takes.
Well, here, speaking of old men, Don Shula didn't like it when his players spiked the ball after a touchdown.
Go on.
And his classic line was, act like you've been there before. FSU fans, you've cheered 2 champion teams. Act like you've been there. What are you doing?
We've never seen someone go from 13-1 to 2-10. It's never been seen before.
Okay.
No one expected anything from FSU in that football game. A 2-touchdown underdog at home? That program?
I think I understand Nick Saban leaving that program certainly couches this discussion, but it also isn't a coincidence that he decided to leave when the advantages that Alabama had went away and parity. And this breathing is crazy.
It's
crazy.
It's obscene.
I'm really glad you're
distracting,
alive, but man,
you're getting him all worked up. Though
I'll sit back here until I'm speaking, and then
I hope you're all right. But anyways, like
you're messing with me now.
There's some people that are really reveling in the end of Alabama's dominance. That's a 20-year run, 20 years running the sport, and now they got to deal with almost every other blue blood program in college football having to reshape themselves. I'm going to play this sound courtesy of Barstool Sports. This kind of speaks for where people are with Alabama and enjoying this.
Alabama is officially dead. Dead. It's over. It's over, Alabama. You fucking sucking pieces of you fucking penthouse living motherfuckers. Used to sit up there and used to piss on all of us. When you beat us, you would say, oh, well, you should be happy. You put up a good fight. Blah, blah. You fucking your time. Now you're down here in the suck. How does it feel? And the best part is, I know it feels worse for you than it feels for us because you're not used to being here for 20 years, you have lived a charmed existence where everything revolved around you. Everything you had, you got. Everything you wanted was at the tips of your fingers. You never had to worry about entering a single weekend. And now, every weekend, you're going to feel the existential threat of losing games that you didn't have to think twice about in the past.
He then later goes on to add, I'm going to drink your tears, urinate them out, and then drink them again.
Nice. Can we just put up on let's put up on the screen as well Ruben Bain's notebook. There it is. You could see it bleeped out. There's the notebook.
Not as fun without the F words.
College football's back, though. What do you mean? It's all been F words. What we just did for the last 30 seconds is the voice of college football is back.
This episode of the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz is presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Thank you. I'm very excited here. Katie Nolan is going to be on Sirius XM, according to Jimmy Traina, announcing that Katie Nolan will host the 1 to 2 p.m. slot on Mad Dog Radio. So they're putting together an old-style radio lineup at Sirius XM with Adam Shine, 9 to noon, Katie Nolan, noon to 1, Stephen A. Smith, 1 to 3, and Chris Mad Dog Russo, 3 to 6.
Okay.
Is that Howard Stern's budget opening up? What is this?
We'll talk about Howard Stern in a little bit. I also want to ask you guys how to handle what's going on with the President of the United States, the White House, and an announcement being made later today that might be made during
First
the
question
show.
for Rossini.
But that's not where we're going to start with Diana Rossini, who is here with us now. Diana is the senior NFL insider for The Athletic. And she is the host of Scoop City, the Scoop City podcast. Last time she was here, she had to rush out of the room because Adam Thielen had been traded. I thought it was a gross overreaction and that her life as a parent and adult lacks perspective. But that's what she does for a living. And she's very good at it. The kids are off to school. How do we feel about, is there relief? What's happening now with the age of the kids? Does your life get any easier now?
Yeah.
Well, I don't think it would, to go from dropping the kids off at school to now going into full face into the football season seems like your life's going to get crazy again, just a different way.
No, I would say it's better now. I enjoy today. I'm not one of those moms that is crying, as they take them out of the car seat to put them into the classroom. It was more of a joyful morning. My husband kissed me this morning, actually. And I know it had nothing to do with romance or love between us. It was just pure joy that they're off to school and we don't have to deal with them. Because it is so hard to, have them around all the time. They're little guys. They're 4 and 2. And they like to bite and play dinosaurs with each other, meaning like they actually like to be the dinosaur. So I'm glad that it's somebody else's problem today because now I can truly lock in and do all this. But it was good. So if you guys remember, I came on the first day of school last year. And I think during the show, we realized that I put Joey's shoes on wrong, like the wrong, the left on the right and the right on the left. But I did not do that today. So big win. We're starting off on top. So it's all downhill from here.
Is Joey the one who microwaved the iPhone?
Yes. Joey is the one who microwaved the iPhone. This morning, when you fill out those chalkboards and the kids hold it up like, hi, my name's Joey. I'm 2. I like this. I said, Joey, what do you like? He said, I like eggs. And the thing is, he doesn't like eggs like to eat. For some reason, I don't know, it started about a month and a half ago, my son just goes up to the refrigerator and asks to hold an egg, and he walks around with an egg. He doesn't drop it, he doesn't throw it, he just wants to hold an egg. So you guys can figure out what that means and what poor parenting skill or thing I'm doing in my house, and my son needs an egg to feel loved.
A comfort egg? What is he doing there? What have you asked anybody about this?
So my brother said he's hungry. He's like, he's asking you to make him an egg. What is so hard to figure out? I said, he doesn't want to eat the egg. He just wants to hold it. And it's with him. So if you come to my house right now, there are just random raw eggs in my house because he'll put it somewhere and I'll forget. I can't find
Easter.
it. Yeah, it is like Easter in my house, except they're not dyed and they're not cooked. It's very bizarre.
But wait a minute. Does this make sense to anyone else? And should this go unchecked? Do we have to get some help or you're going to have a house full of eggs?
I mean, it's going to get gross at some point here, right? Because eggs can't be out of the refrigerator. Like, how long? If you could put this up, please, and let the world. There's
going to be a smell, isn't there? Because if you don't find all the eggs.
How long can an egg stay raw? I guess outside of the refrigerator. Like, how long can it last?
You're going to be the house that smells like rotten eggs.
That's right.
Oh my God.
That's what's going to happen.
I'm seeing eggs should not be left unrefrigerated for more than 2 hours.
Yeah, you're going to have a stink house. That's what's going to happen.
To prevent
2
dangerous.
hours? Try 2 weeks.
To prevent dangerous bacterial growth.
Yeah, you gotta, Diana. Look, you got to get a hold of things. Football's crazy, and the season's about to start.
Salmonella.
And those kids are walking petri dishes for disease. And they're going to join a bunch of other kids who are petri dishes for disease.
Right.
And you sent them out of the house, and your husband kissed you because you were so happy to get them the hell out of the house.
We were so happy. And look, they can put the eggs wherever they want. As long as they are healthy enough to go to school, they're going to school. Because the phone call I get, and guys on the show that have the little ones know, you get that call from school, I wanna red button it. Like, I want to ignore it sometimes. Because I'm like, I know what this is. Joey has a boo-boo, or Mikey fell and has a scratch on his cheek, and you have to come get him. And it's like, I get him, and then as soon as Mikey gets in the car, he's like, hey, Mom, can we go for a lollipop? I'm like, you're fine. But now you're going to make my life crazy. But it's all part of it. So I actually enjoy it, because last week they were home. And I'm sure you guys were paying attention to the news in the NFL. It was absolutely absurd. From obviously it started with the Adam Thielen thing, which is now laughable compared to what the trade turned out to be, the trade of the summer, if not the year, depending on how we see how this shakes out, with, of course, Micah Parsons going to Green Bay. So it has not stopped. It's been a relentless week.
I want to ask you, what was the most interesting thing to be said or shared on Micah Parsons? Everyone's got an opinion. What's the best one you heard?
I enjoy how it was a little bit of no pun intended, a little bit of an egg in my face. How many head coaches and general managers on Thursday afternoon I either spoke to over the phone or over text who told me Micah Parsons was not getting traded. It was not happening. And these were teams who even spoke to the Cowboys about potential trade. They knew the team was open to it, but nobody believed that it would actually happen. So I've actually enjoyed a little bit of the post-trade fodder more than the lead up, just because so many people are questioning the timing of it. A lot of people believe that he could have received, he meaning Jerry, the Cowboys could have received so much better compensation either closer to the trade deadline, or if they just did this earlier in the season, what they could have.
Yeah, but Diana, everyone's shocked and everyone has a lot of questions. But what's the best analysis you've heard? Because all the analysis seems to gloss over what I just read. Which is Micah Parsons needs a shot to his spine to make sure that his back's okay now. Do we know that he's healthy? And you didn't I'd like to know, in the opinion business, who's giving the opinion on this that you're like, that's a really astute point that's being made.
Like who did I speak with? You're saying in football that was giving me a thoughtful reaction to this, or
I'm trying to understand. Nobody understands this trade. Everything you said is so, and it seems to me like it's just Jerry Jones's precedent. Oh, he always does this. He's just fooling around. He just likes the attention. He'll sign him. You don't trade that. Everyone knows. Everyone knows. You never trade that. No one's trading that. That never gets traded ever. And then Jerry Jones trades him. So in the analysis afterward, I hear a lot of people talking, but I don't hear a lot of people knowing much of anything. And then I read today, he needs a shot in his back. And so I'm asking you, why am I reading that? And what's interesting in the last few days that you've read or heard that you would say, I hadn't thought of it that way?
The back thing, from what I can gather, isn't going to be something serious that the Dallas Cowboys were actually really concerned about, nor the Green Bay Packers. So he's expected to be out there. So this wasn't one of these injuries where Jerry's laughing internally in the building. Well, wait till Green Bay sees what injury they're going to have to deal with. That's not the case from what I understand. I think just the timing of all this, the fact that Kenny Clark, obviously the player that was involved in this trade from the Green Bay Packers, who's now a Dallas Cowboy, practiced on Thursday, tells you where the Cowboys were at in this trade. So while I'm sharing with you that Thursday afternoon, no one thought this was happening, because there was a reality where maybe this wouldn't happen. About a week and a half ago, someone texted me who I trust. Not that I have to preface that I trust this, but sometimes there's just better sources than others that you have in the league. And this person said to me, there are people in the Dallas Cowboys building trying to get Jerry to sit down and have a conversation that a trade needs to be on the table. That you cannot continue to say, I'm not doing this. I have all the leverage. I can tag him. We have to talk about this and what that trade would look like. And so between a week and a half ago and Monday, things changed. They were able to convince Jerry to have a conversation, to say, we may need to do this. And once some people in that building were able to convince Jerry that this could be the right move, Jerry went. Because there were some people there that didn't want to trade Micah, and there were some people who did. And that's part of it. This isn't all Jerry. And it's just because we don't know of those people, and those people aren't going to come out and say it. So I just think the fact that this went from being a story that was just going to be business as usual in Dallas to really being a story that got very personal. And soon as on August 1st, when we reported that Micah felt that the relationship was so tarnished that he no longer wanted to be a Dallas Cowboy, and then hours later he tweeted out that he didn't want to be there. This was deeper than just, I don't want to play there, right? When we talked about Trey Hendrickson on the show here a few weeks ago, I said to you, Trey has said consistently he wants to be a Bengal. He never said he wanted to leave Cincinnati. Terry McLaurin always wanted to be a Commander. It was the most obvious thing in the world. He may not have been as vocal as Trey, but everybody knew that. Micah did not want to play in Dallas anymore. Once it got personal, once the shots were being made, once Jerry disrespected his agent. So this just felt that Dallas, I always thought that Dallas could handle this, even though it felt like it got ugly. But in the end, sometimes these relationships can't be repaired, and this one did not.
Diana, Micah mentioned that he didn't have a say in where he was going to go. So how did it go down, do you believe, as far as him signing the huge deal then with the Packers? I mean, the Packers must have said, hey, we have a deal in place for you. Do you want to play for us, right?
Well, it's money, right? It's who's going to be the team that's going to give him the contract that he wants. And he went from making, for what he thought he would make with Dallas at around what I think Jerry and him had that conversation around 41.5 a year to 47. You know, I don't really think there's a lot of decision that has to be made there. And that was part of this too, by the way. So Thursday afternoon, when the trade was agreed to, at least was heating up, the contract had to get worked out. And from what I gather, Green Bay had no issue giving him that money. And I do believe that there are other teams around the league who would have had no problem paying him the number of that contract that he received.
How much more should they have gotten, Dallas? Because the 2 first-round draft picks they're getting aren't even likely to be high picks. They're probably going to be in the 20s.
That's the problem with all of this, is they picked a team, which, first of all, they have a history with, a history that they don't like. Jerry's been very open about that. We've seen how many games have we seen where the Packers are the reason why the Dallas Cowboys can't advance or get knocked out, whatever it is. But furthermore, it's the NFC. I had a head coach text with me that day. It was, why not the AFC? Why would you do that if you're Dallas? If the Packers are the reason why you haven't been able to get over the hump in several different seasons.
Let me ask that question a different way, actually. How many teams in the league wouldn't make that trade for Micah Parsons? Like, would have given up more for Micah Parsons because Micah Parsons is never available?
Yeah, I don't know how many teams at the end really were serious. I know there were a handful, right? Jerry said 15. I think it's a little less than that, just because as a reporter, you have to go call every team and say, were you in? You know, and I try to get almost every team. And the number I got was not 15. But I can tell you that a lot of teams were looking at this as, yes, an opportunity to improve our team immediately. And, you know, the most common sense way to go about this was to call the teams that have rookie quarterbacks, right? Because they've got the money, they've got the draft capital, they're in better positions. So those teams all make a lot of sense. I did find teams, though, that have quarterbacks on rookie deals who were not interested. And some of it is because they either like what they have, they don't want to give away that draft capital. This morning, Mike Vrabel was asked in New England, a team that could certainly use a guy like Micah Parsons. And his response was essentially, without saying and throwing the former regime under the bus, they just, they did not draft very well. We need our draft picks. We have to build. One player can't do it all. So I don't know how many teams were not in. There were just definitely some that were lurking once they heard that Jerry was actually truly open. But again, back to the business side of this, and this is where the feedback I've been receiving around the league is, I think there's a lot of questions about how much better of a deal they could have received if they just pulled the plug on this earlier. If they just made the decision to actually trade him earlier in the summer when teams, we're a few days out when this
You
was
need
happening.
to find out. Like Pablo Torre finds out, Diana Russini needs to find out.
Give me the full name. You said Diana Marie Rossini.
Yes,
Give me the full name.
Diana Rurini finds out what was going to be the max trade offer for Micah Parsons. Please find out what could have been possible so we can stop speaking speculatively and actually know it.
Man, if I'm a Packers fan, I just feel like I won the lottery. And if you want to win the lottery, listen up. We're teaming up with Jackpocket, America's #1 lottery app. Play Powerball, Mega Millions, and scratch-offs, all with just a couple taps. New customers get $5 in lottery credits when you download the app. Opt in. Use code SUPERFAN at sign-up.
So, Diana, I want to, because I have aired here, right, and I want to spend some time here with you on Bellichick, but there's a lot happening, right? When Micah Parsons is something that just explodes in your face, and now here comes football, college football, crazy weekend, lot of fun. The whole sports thing is escalating, and last week, your exit here was controversial. And Chris and I were trying to get you on to get back on the show because during our conversation or your appearance, you got the Adam Thielen news. You left for 10 minutes. You came back, and then people thought I was yelling at you. What's the final fallout on that?
I think you understood that when I'm in the middle of a story and it's my job to gather as many details and to get as many people on the phone to not only report it for myself, but to support my teammates, the athletic reporters that are on the ground every day with these teams. I think you know me well enough to know when I'm overwhelmed. When I come on the show, most of the time outside Robert Saleh getting fired, it's always a fun conversation. It's easy. We love talking football. I'm an open book with you guys about my ridiculous life that I've chosen. But at times, I have to be serious and I have to do my job. And the competition is at a level that it's never been at. I've never had so many people I am trying to beat on a daily basis. So while the Adam Thielen story was happening, there's layers that I'm going to get asked from my own bosses of how this trade came together. And really, my anxiety that day was trying to support my fellow reporters at The Athletic in that moment, knowing they were working and had tons of intel, and we just needed to piece it together. So in terms of your behavior towards me, you did make me feel bad because you guys are part of, you're some of my favorite people. You've opened your arms to me for years. But you made me feel bad for wanting to be good at what I do. And that was the issue.
Oh my God.
Because I sat in it all afternoon, and you and I texted a little bit afterwards. And I remember thinking, I think I let the guys down. I let Dan down by leaving, but then it was a little bit of a difficult mind war I had in my brain, a tug of war but I have to do this job. So,
but for me, all I was doing, it wasn't even because you were a little overwhelmed. You seemed distracted. And when you're always here, you're super focused on what we're doing, or we're fooling around with where you would get distracted. But it seemed like you seemed panicked. And so I was trying to make sure that you were okay because you were.
No, that's what it is. I know you understand what's going on, but sometimes when you talk about what I'm doing, you make me feel bad that I chose this life. And I don't want to feel bad about myself.
Oh, okay.
It feels
because I feel bad.
It's like you're mocking me. That's what it is. It feels condescending.
Look
at you. Like you couldn't be better. You couldn't shoot higher. You couldn't get a job on SportsCenter. You had to become an insider and have this stuff consume your life that you're running off a great television show.
I'm your mother.
I'm
your mother.
You are, exactly. This is, if I was on Good Morning America,
I'm your mother.
You would be happy.
Yeah.
This is what's happened through these years. Somehow Dan is turned into Camille Rossini.
Dana, can I just tell you, you're enough. And I'm proud of you and everything that you have become.
Yeah, we love you. Not Dan, but the rest of us.
Thank you for saying that.
No
Sometimes you just need to hear from the people you care about and that love you unconditionally, because this is supposed to be an unconditional love relationship here. I am good with the tough love, but Dan, I just think you need to.
We're on television. How is this unconditional?
You just need to give me a little bit of grace at times.
Yes, respect.
This is you're correct, but I did not mean to be neither mocking nor condescending. I worry.
You said Adam Thielen was 35. You're like, who cares? Like your whole attitude of it was like you were annoyed that I cared about a trade that wasn't very significant in the grand scheme of things, but in the moment, it was.
If you lack total perspective because your job as an insider is so consuming and everyone is competing in a way that makes mental health challenges a daily conundrum because information has to be gotten to first and fast, and I don't think it's sane or healthy for you.
So send me Xanax. Like, don't make fun of me. Get me on meds. Get me a therapist. Get me someone I could talk to get this off my chest so I can be Superwoman and I can be a wonderful wife and a wonderful mom and the best at this because I'm trying to do that this year.
If you send her the Xanax over state lines, it could be troublesome for you.
Okay. Thank you, Zaslow. I appreciate the law enforcement over here. But we haven't talked enough about Bellichick, and there seems to be a glee in the air. I have been a bit surprised. I wonder if Belichick cost him more with this relationship than it did with Tom Brady winning a Super Bowl elsewhere. The sheer delight people are taking in watching him unrobed this way on television. Like, what's more responsible there for people really enjoying a demise? Is it the fact that we all saw that Tom Brady could win without him, or is it his relationship?
Well, I enjoyed your take yesterday. I repeated that and retweeted it. I was very psyched to see how supportive you were and the belief of Bill Belichick. But no, I'm with you. It seems very petty right now. I can't believe how harsh people are being on him for one game. But I think sometimes this is what happens when you put so much out there. You immediately put the target on your back. And I do think the way Bill treated the media for so long, there's a bit of a revenge feeling here. And I felt it even before this North Carolina situation. I felt it even when he was interviewing for jobs or at least looking for jobs in the NFL. It felt like people wanted to box him out to punish him for the way he treated people. In terms of this, though, and you know, before I got on the show, I was talking to some people around the league to just get their feelings about Bill. And even last night, some people were texting about it. Look, it's one game. I don't think anyone's sitting here thinking Bill is going to be an absolute failure at the college level. I just think it's going to be a bit of a learning curve here. It's not the NFL. This roster is not very good at Chapel Hill. Like I think we got to give a little, but I'm with you. The world seems pretty excited to watch him fail.
The audience has spoken, and for being an asshole to Diana and making her feel bad last week and make her feel condescended, I have been given by the audience.
Wow. Minor penalty, 2 minutes, peste tremenda, come mierda.
Crazy about that.
And this is how you show your support for women?
I apologize for you feeling that way. Good.
Oh, see, I don't like that line. I'm sorry you feel that way. I had someone do that to me recently. Like, that's basically putting it back on me.
Yeah, it's not an apology.
It's not an apology. The apology should just be, we are so happy that you're part of our family, and we know that you're trying your best to get us the most information, and at times things are going to happen when we're on the show. And if you have to do your job, you need to go do it. And you are always welcome here, whether it's that day or another day, because you've consistently been loyal to this show, and we love you unconditionally,
Dad,
top to bottom. And you're also beautiful.
Dad, what's the passive-aggressive thing you say to Mom all the time when you're in an argument with her? Like it's like a diffuser?
If you say so.
Oh, yeah.
She hates that.
If you say so.
My
Yikes.
God.
I thought it's like, you may be right. I thought it was...
I know, she hates that.
It's almost like the text. My husband and I do this when we're fighting. Just K.
Oh,
just
the K.
K.
Yeah, don't K me.
That's essentially.
It speaks volumes.
Yeah, it's the middle finger.
What's wrong with if you say so? As a diffuser, as an argument.
I thought you also
diffuser.
do you may be right.
I do, because
I may be crazy.
The great Edwin Pope taught me that you may be right is the way to diffuse an argument without admitting the other person
Those
is
are detonators, not diffusers.
You think?
You're getting the person more ramped up.
Okay.
I see where you're coming from on that. I understand that. I probably needed to put myself in your shoes a little bit more in that scenario. And maybe that's what Dan needed to do. Maybe Dan needs to sit here in my little office with my phone buzzing, because God knows every time I'm on this show, something's happening.
Right.
By the way, I was thinking about that on the day the Micah Parsons trade was happening. I'm like, thank God I was not with Dan.
Oh, God.
So I was having internet issues, and we wanted to do a quick live reaction show for Scoop City. And of course, everything always happens at the worst times, right? It's like no internet, no technology, all this. So I have to go to Starbucks. It's the only place I can think of to just sit somewhere to to get internet.
Right.
And I had to go up to the barista and, basically ask him politely, can you not blend Frappuccino?
Oh, my.
Can you kill the music? The biggest trade in the NFL in a long time just happened, and I have to go live, and I just can, whatever you could do. And I realized there's only one way people will do things that you ask, which is money. And I just put $50 on the counter.
Oh my God.
Music goes off, the blending stops. Like, it was awesome. Like, shout out to those guys.
Now, were there people in there? Like, did you have an audience when you were doing this?
It wasn't a large amount like normally you see at Starbucks. It was like a decent amount, and they were working too. And I did see one guy, he was live watching. Like, he was just like, he was probably a football fan, actually, now that I think about it. It was like, oh, this is great intel. This is all happening in the moment. But that was just like another example of where you're like, are you kidding me? Is this happening right now? But it happens. Money talks, right, guys?
Were there other customers that like now are not getting their drinks because you bribed the barista?
I don't know. They were in my peripheral. And if you remember, it was later in the day. And they were sweeping and collecting garbage. And I'm thinking, is Starbucks closing right now? Is this going to happen in the middle of the show? They're going to try to close, which by the way, this is happening where like you're looking straight on camera and everything around you is just like craziness, on top of the fact that I've got text messages flying in, because I'm trying to throw out as much intel as I can to make the show better. But it was a lot at one time. So, by the way, what's the answer? If your internet goes down and you have to go somewhere that's decent, because I was thinking, do I get a hotel room? Like, do I just go to a hotel and be like, give me a room?
That's sketchy. Explain to your husband you got a hotel room in the middle of the
day. He sees on the credit card thing, Holiday Inn on Route 4 in Paramus.
Greg was dying to tell you the story of the time he had to do that, though. Like, you were.
I have had to do that. But the hotel rental. Not only that, but for 1 hour, I only need the hotel room for 1 hour.
That's even sketchier.
That's a little sketchy.
Long for you, but sketchier.
No, but Diana, the coincidence is I have done that same thing in a Dunkin' Donuts near my house. When my power is out and I have to finish a column or something, I've gone there and set up to finish a column in a Dunkin' Donuts.
You don't listen. He just said that was long for you.
An hour?
Okay. When did Dunkin' Donuts and Starbucks close? Because like you were saying, your word is going to close. It's a good question because I think they close. At least Dunkin' closes at like 5 p.m. or something. And
Starbucks like 6 or 7 p.m.
I don't know if you guys have caught on to this. Starbucks, the A team is the one that's working at like the crack of dawn. If you go to a Starbucks and it's like 6 a.m., man, you're in and out. But if you go at like 1:30 in the afternoon, you're waiting.
Yeah, like you really think they have like a draft? I think they have a roster, like the depth chart.
Yeah, I think you have to work your way up. So if I were to work at a Starbucks, I would kind of want to slip a little bit because like I don't want to be up at 4:30 making people frappuccinos. You know,
the slow shift.
Yeah, exactly right. You want to be the one in the afternoon. The morning people seem to really have it together because if you go through like a drive-through, it's like boom, 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 boom. You're in and out. Afternoon, you're waiting.
But maybe you want to be in the morning crew because they get better tips.
And more
I've noticed with them the greetings are different, at least in my area. The morning people don't give me the big, hello, good morning, welcome to Starbucks. How may I help you? What can I get for you today on this beautiful Monday afternoon? Like
people
Monday
don't
morning.
want that.
Yeah, come on.
You don't want that early.
Afternooners are stalling because they know they take forever to do stuff, so they just talk to you to keep you distracted.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. Look, I can't complain. They hooked me up.
I'm
that could have been a nightmare.
That my dad was able to hook up his internet at a place like that. Like the idea that you know how to hook up your Wi-Fi at a Starbucks.
I mean, somebody had to give me the Wi-Fi password.
Okay.
Or, I didn't know
so
that.
wait, I really need an answer because this is going to happen again to me.
Yeah,
I have some internet.
Diana, why can't you go to your neighbor?
I guess I didn't, because they're working from home too. It's just like I feel
if
bad.
my neighbor shows up on my house looking for internet, I'm like, this is the worst neighbor ever.
Yeah, that's
really?
an intrusion. Yeah, you don't.
I better be really close with you. If you're showing up at my house needing internet,
I've done a radio show. My internet went out. I did a radio show at my neighbor's house.
That better be close with your neighbor.
COVID is the reason why this all became acceptable, anyways. Right? Like we would never be doing it. Like
that neighbor hates you.
No, he's my friend.
No, they definitely hate you. How long was your radio show for?
3 hours.
So you were 3 hours at your neighbor's house just screaming?
Yeah, I'm loud. I'm loud.
Yelling. And was this like the afternoon one? Like what time was this show
Yeah, it was
at?
midday, 10 a to 2 p, midday.
Were they there?
No.
Wait, hold on.
See, that's
What?
different.
You went to your neighbor's house and you were alone in your neighbor's house just screaming?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
In their bedroom, too.
What? Why?
Because that was where the better connection was for the internet.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Did you take a picture?
What does that
Put
mean?
it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Have you ever been in your neighbor's master bedroom? At Le Batard Show. Have you ever done a radio show from your neighbor's master bedroom? At Le Batard Show. Would you want your neighbor looking around in your master bedroom when you're not home? At Le Batard
Did they
Show.
know that you were in their bedroom? How did this work? You called me and said, "Hey, Fred, my internet's down. Can I go to your house?"
Yeah, I said, I'm about to go on the air here, and I just lost internet. Like, can you help me out? He goes, yeah, here's my garage code. You can enter through the side of the house.
And then did he say go into the master bedroom?
Yeah.
Or you decided that?
No, I said, where's a good place?
That's
he goes,
very personal.
Oh, you snooped. You snooped. You snooped a little bit in the commercials.
Yeah, you did.
He said, you'll be able to connect best if you go set up in my bedroom. So I set up in the bedroom. I did the show. And when I got done with the show and I was getting ready to leave, I walked out, and his in-laws were in the house now in the living room. I was like, oh, hey. I didn't know you were here.
More like Snoop City. Am I right?
Oh, boy.
You lost confidence on that one. Cue the music so that I can.
That was a good joke. Her podcast called Scoop City.
We got it.
Yeah,
we all got it. You just didn't have the confidence in it.
I was going to say, am I right, Diana? But I figured
I know,
she
you
got
tripped over the finish line.
I liked it. 1 hour in a hotel room, though.
We're gonna speed
I had a
Diana
good
up here
setup.
for a second here and get all the fast football information we can get. But do you have any opinions on Zaslow's go-to order at Dunkin'? Since we were talking about Dunkin' and Starbucks,
I get that plain stick.
just the plain stick. The plain stick.
I don't know what that is.
Nobody
That
gets
sounds
that.
weird. What's a plain stick?
What do you mean you don't know what it is? How am I supposed to describe a plain stick other than say it's a plain stick?
Well, donut's round. It's a stick?
It's an elongated donut.
It's like rectangular, like that.
Made for dipping in that coffee.
I don't know. I'm at Dunkin' Donuts 3 times a week with my boys from Munchkins. I've never seen a plain stick.
That's because they're always sold out. It's so good.
I don't believe that that's true. I believe you're strange in eating this thing.
Sounds
Put it on the
awful.
poll. Do you know what a plain stick is at Dunkin'? And do you like the plain stick? Let's speed up the music here and go through this as fast as you can, Diana, because now we want the fast information. As fast as you'll give it to us, because football is here. Why will the Eagles repeat?
The Eagles repeat because Jalen Hurts is going to be the best version of himself at quarterback now that he's won a Super Bowl and also lost one. I think his confidence is at an all-time high in terms of operating this offense and just feeling good at the position. He knows how to do it. He's done it already. And I think Jalen Hurts is probably going to be the reason why we'll see the Eagles back in the Super Bowl.
Why will the Eagles not get back to the Super Bowl?
Health. I hate saying health because it's a horrible thing to put out there. But Saquon Barkley carried a lot of this offense last year. Long runs as well. And they gave him the ball a lot, not just in the regular season, but of course in the postseason. I just think it's hard to imagine that Saquon's going to be able to have another season like that again.
Last year was shocking when it came to the Kansas City Chiefs offense. And then in the playoffs, they kind of fooled us a little bit, but then we saw how outgunned they were in the Super Bowl. Will the Kansas City Chiefs offense get back to what it once was, or is this a new reality?
Oh, no, they are going to be getting back to what they were just based on what the conversations I've been having with people there and the way Patrick has looked and the way they're using these weapons. I'm expecting a lot of speed once again with this Chiefs offense, but also protection. That was what they have focused on all offseason, knowing that did not look very good in the Super Bowl. So I'm expecting big things for the Kansas City Chiefs, not doubting them.
More speed on this. More speed. Why is everyone in on the Broncos?
Because Sean Payton is a good salesman, and also because Bo Nix has already taken that next step in terms of understanding the playbook and what's expected of him. He put it best on Scoop City with us when we talked to him. He said last year was just about memorizing. This year is about understanding the why as to why I am doing the things I'm doing on the field. He actually understands the position at a better level. And I think for that reason and the fact that they probably have one of the best defenses in football.
Diana, the Chicago Bears are going to be what?
Very good this year.
A team considered out of the playoff race that's going to surprise and make the playoffs.
A team that was out of the playoff race last year that could be in the playoffs this year?
Yes, an underregarded team that you expect to make the playoffs.
The New England Patriots. I think they're going to make a bounce back this year. I think they're not going to be exceptionally good, but I think they're going to be able to squeeze in.
To that point, Bill Barnwell says on Dominique Foxworth's show, quote, I believe Sean Payton would drive Bo Nix to the airport and dump him in front of departures if he could get Drake May at quarterback.
Not true at all. Sean Payton would buy Bo Nix a private jet, take him to his house in Cabo, and spend the entire summer with him if he could. He's obsessed with Bo Nix.
Well, wait a minute, though. Why would you and Bill Barnwell have such a different opinion on this?
Well, has Bill Barnwell been to the Denver Broncos practice?
Whoa.
Yikes.
Shots fired.
That's a shot.
Like
No matter what I said, it was going to be a shot at Bill. I love Bill, but where is Bill getting that Sean
Shot
Payton?
retracted.
He's just using that as that's a theory, right? He's not saying that's what Sean Payton told him, right?
Diana Rossini, Bill Barnwell is a liar.
Dan, I think I said it on the show this summer. I had a missed call from Sean Payton, and when I checked the voicemail, all the voicemail said was, I love my quarterback.
Let's call him right now and ask him.
Yeah, but he could love him and trade him for Drake May. What Bill Barnwell is saying is that Drake May's better.
I don't think Sean Payton believes that. I don't think Sean Payton believed Drake May was better. I think during that whole draft process, it was Bo Nix the whole time. I think Jaden Daniels was a different story. I think if we said Jaden, yes. I don't think that he thinks that Bo Nix, that the thing that Sean Payton loves about Bo Nix is the experience he had at the college level, right? Bo's obviously, 25? He is comfortable at the position already. There is not that much of a learning curve that we're seeing with so much of these younger guys. Drake May still needs time.
Greg Cody, I stop you just because we need to speed it up. Greg Cody says the Dolphins are going to win 8 games this season.
At least.
You're drunk. No. I have. They are the team I am most concerned about this year.
Wow.
Injuries are always a problem with this team. They went from old to young, which I'm fine with. Like, I'm okay that they decided to go, all right, we got to get rid of some of the veterans here and bring in some youth, which is what they did. But anytime you see a team that's this young, they need time. And I'm not sure if this regime has a lot of time left here to turn this around. Obviously, there's been drama off the field with Tyreek, the back and forth. Tyreek is going to be there, obviously, out in week 1. He was not a captain. That tells you some of the story as well. The vibes are not good.
I have to give you credit because I am drunk right now.
Thank you.
Wow, Cash.
Thank you, Diana, for your time. On your way out, just very quickly, are lemonade stands bullshit?
Yes. Yes, it is a way for parents to make money off their children and use that cash to get dinner.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Are lemonade stands a grift by the parent?
That $28 scheme.
Thank you, thank you, Diana. Thank you. Good talking to you.
Tough times, guys. Thanks. Love you.
Or just like anything to say about, obviously last game today?
I just love all the different headpieces. It's the best. And that's actually the main reason why I wanted to come down here and support the Buckeyes today.
Did you hit your vape?
What?
Did you hit your vape in the middle of this interview?
No. Must have been the wind.
I am just as shocked as you all are. I still work here. Who knew? I did it. But I'm back on the road again. Not only do I still work here, they're letting me do this for a 3rd year. And to kick it off, we are here in Columbus, Ohio for the biggest opening game ever. Texas, Ohio State. We got denied for credentials.
We need some ping pong balls. Like, we can't get that excited because we don't have ping pong balls.
I'm just going to start off by asking you the tough question. Okay. I'm going to put you in a bad mood. Did Michigan get away with it?
Absolutely, they got away with it. $20 million is not even close to a significant amount of money for them.
You take all the competitiveness out of the game, and it's a rivalry game. Like that's just
Michigan. Michigan. Always. All the time.
Yeah, what should the punishment have been? Like, what would have been fair?
Vacate all the wins in the national championship and the 3 wins against us.
What about the death penalty?
Kind of a gray area. I'm not sure about the death penalty.
Actually, the actual death penalty for Jim Harbaugh.
Harbaugh should get punished in the NFL for
Whoa!
You can't just run away from your scandal.
That's exactly what he did after being like, we do not cheat.
We
do things the right way.
Exactly.
They say, Michigan man, Michigan man, Michigan man.
Give me something to me, man. You.
Is Arch Manning, is he properly hyped, overly hyped, underhyped?
Properly hyped. Respect there.
I do love Arch Manning. I mean, he's a humble guy. He's got the stuff.
He's gonna be so good.
Raise your hand, overrated. Okay. Okay, so everyone's got their hand up. Hell yeah.
He's proved nothing so far except for his name, personally. He's a very great player, but you're not going to come out into the shoe, big noon, biggest game of the year, and not be rattled.
We love DraftKings.
So do I.
What time is it? It's game time. Download the Game Time app and use code Lucy for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Ryan Day is very actively denied dyeing his hair and dyeing his beard. Do you think that he's telling the truth?
It's natural, unless he loses to Texas.
Do you know what a Buckeye is?
Like the animal?
Not an animal.
Chocolate with peanut butter?
Not quite. A Buckeye is a nut.
Oh. I'm from Miami, Florida.
Oh, Jesus Christ. We're a Miami show.
Yes. My dad's walking back home.
Yeah, no, if you tell your dad you were on the Dan Le Batard Show, I think he'll flip.
I'm gonna die. Bobby, I'm on TV.
So my favorite part of off-roading is getting to be a part of like what I think makes college football so special, and it's these like little communities and these little moments. So we were invited to this tailgate called Jack and Day Olds, where they've been tailgating for 30 years, and they do an initiation ceremony.
And now we dip it in our and then we take a bite of our donut, a small bite of our donut, and we savor. And we dunk it. We then finish that off with a toast to each other, to friendship.
To friendship.
A toast to fellowship.
To fellowship.
And then we take a sip, and you're initiated into the group.
Woo! I'm one of us. Do we get like t-shirts or something?
Yeah, right. We need t-shirts.
So we had a bit of a, like, just a mess up here on the off-roading team. And it was Rose's fault. And we did this, like, beautiful initiation ceremony where Rose accidentally forgot to press record. It happens. I forgive her. However, there are natural punishments to your actions. And so because I had to eat 2 soggy donuts, Rose has to drink the soggy donut water.
Look at this. It has fish. I'm not going to mess up again.
Do you guys have a favorite Lee Corso memory? Or obviously he put on the Buckeye hat so many times.
He's been the Iron Man for so long. He loves the game. I don't think there's a parallel to him other than, what's the Dick Vitale? It's probably the Dick Vitale of football, right?
Or maybe me, right?
Probably you or Dick Vitale.
I love him to death, but he's so old. Like he looks like a Roomba moving around. Like
bad news. I'm a little rusty. I'm losing my voice. Rose is going to have to sub in.
Does Ryan Day dice his beer?
Look, it doesn't matter what I say because Mike Ryan is going to come back and guarantee that he does it. So what if he does? Who cares?
Do you want to say anything to Dan?
Very proud of myself. This is a self-brag. I was Sooie nominated this week. Friends in low places for Rafe LaFrance. Go vote for it by Tuesday. Longtime listener, lover of the show. Love everything you guys do.
Do you guys feel confident about the game today?
No.
Let's go! Let's hook them.
It was so great to be back on the road. Even better to still have a job, because that was up in the, I didn't know. I really didn't know, but thank God. And next week, Fox 1 is choosing where we're going, and we are going to, drum roll, Ames, Iowa. Yeah, we're going to Ames. Not my choice, their choice. Their choice. So we will be in Ames for Iowa State and big noon kickoff. And don't forget to stream that game and all live sports on the Fox 1 app. We live for live. Stream now.
We are going to announce all the Sooie winners later. I don't want to spoil any surprises except to say that guy didn't win anything. He didn't win shit. That guy didn't win anything for his Rafe LaFrance. I won't give you any more information on that.
It was a good song.
It got a Sooie. It got a Sooie nomination. That's always an honor. Lucy, we are thrilled to see you again. It means that college football has returned. There are a lot of things to talk about in college football that are very exciting. I legitimately look at that. Look at all the applause back there. Yeah, she's bringing back Tailgate.
She still works here.
Yes, she is bringing back enthusiasm for sports. So if I said to you the one story that you'd be talking about after the weekend, and I'm throwing Bellichick into the mix to give you the offer, but the one story from the weekend, the one that you thought was most interesting was what? Because I saw a lot of people on that report saying Arch Manning was special and no one had seen Arch Manning play.
It has to be Alabama. Like, Arch Manning having a bad game against one of the best defenses in college football on the road of the defending national champions. Like, oh, that's so surprising. Like, I don't think that's a big deal. I think that's something that in 2 months we're all going to look back and be like, yeah, that just makes a ton of sense given the circumstances. Alabama losing the way they did is far and away the most interesting storyline of this weekend. And for me, when I look at week one, I understand it's like a 1 week sample size, so I try not to take too much out of it, except for that Alabama game. The way they were absolutely out physicaled, out coached, I have not seen them lose like that. Well, since their last game against Michigan and since their game against Oklahoma before that and Vanderbilt, but still very, very big deal.
Pretty hard what Saban did there, huh? Hard to do when Clemson and Georgia and Ohio State all want your players.
It's like, I think it's what I expected when Kalen DeBoer took the job there was obviously going to be a step back because Nick Saban is the greatest of all time. I think what's been so shocking about the step back is everyone assumed, okay, now Alabama might lose to Georgia a little bit more. They might lose to Tennessee a little bit more. We were not expecting losing to this Florida State team, which, by the way, not the 2-10 Florida State team of last year. Completely different coaches, completely different players. But still, it was an embarrassing loss, and it was the way that Alabama is losing that it's like my entire TikTok feed right now are Alabama fans with making sad edits of like, I miss you so much, Jalen Milroe and Nick Saban, and I think it's really funny.
Lucy, how do you balance, though, Alabama's performance compared to Florida State?
Well, I think what I would say for like Alabama is I don't want to take anything away from Florida State. I thought that was a super impressive victory. Tommy Castellanos was amazing. Like, you can't take what they did away because they were dominant that whole game. I think where I take the conclusions from Alabama is because this isn't a one size like sample where they played like this against Michigan. They played like this against Oklahoma. They played like this against Vanderbilt, and Alabama has never played like that ever. Like, we have never seen that type of consistent losing, that kind of consistent, like, just frankly getting your ass beat. No, like, but that's not something we've seen.
Luce, it's so strange to see some of these numbers, right? They've lost 3 of their last 4 in the last 17 years. Nick Saban lost 3 times in a season, twice. And he got out at exactly the right time because he overachieved with that bad team at the end. He got very close. It's just like, I'll see you later. I can see what's coming here. These other teams are getting players. So did Nick Saban see what was coming, where he wasn't going to be able to keep winning that way? Or are we going to assume forever that Nick Saban would have figured it out in the very next year? He'd never look like this.
I don't think he would ever look like this. I think that he did sort of see the writing on the wall with this, like NIL was going to open up some of the competition. Like players that might typically go to Alabama or Georgia, they might be going to Texas Tech now. Like things are a little bit different there. But like Nick Saban has always had very well coached, very well disciplined teams. I heard this crazy stat that since Kalen DeBoer has took over at Alabama, they have never had a game where Alabama was the less penalized team. Where so every time that Alabama is playing, they have more penalties than their opponent. That's not stuff that Nick Saban does. And you can sort of see that like Kalen DeBoer, he's definitely stressing. He's definitely sort of like not being able to figure it out. Like this week at his press conference, someone tried to ask him a question just about like preparation and he just didn't know what they were talking about. We have the video if we want to play it, but it was about their Florida State prep and he was lost.
You mentioned the great week before the game. Just how much do you self-scout the preparation before games, and are there times as a coach where maybe you notice during the week that things might not be going the way that you want them to?
You said, what do you mean great week?
A great week. You said a great week of preparation.
For this week, you're saying, or are you
sorry,
referring to last week?
Going up to Florida State before that game.
I said that?
You said that, yeah, before.
Oh, just,
yeah.
Okay, all right.
Jeez.
Woof.
Wow.
Yeah, he doesn't know what's going on.
Wow, fake it at least.
Well, ESPN, all over ESPN, people are calling for DeBoer's firing. And I'm like, good God, that happened quick to Alabama. In fact, I'm trying to remember a time where you had the juiciness of Bellichick and Alabama, and everyone in sports is just hate celebrating.
Does anyone know how much Kalen DeBoer's buyout is? I'll let you guess.
It's over 60, isn't it?
I think it's 77.
It's 90% of whatever remains, I think, right?
So right now it's around $70 million.
Oh, wow.
What was that?
I love it.
I mean, they just.
Is that all of college football laughing under its breath that Alabama just tired of getting its ass kicked by Alabama for 17 years?
Am I the only one that feels bad for DeBoer?
I feel bad for him, like a little bit. I don't feel bad for Alabama. Like, welcome to the real world. This is how we've all been living for the last 20 years.
I don't feel bad for their fans.
Yeah. You like welcome. One of us now. It's not that fun. But for DeBoer, I do feel bad because I didn't think it was a bad hire at the time. And like, but also at the same time, you take that Alabama job, you understand that the expectations are so much higher and there's no wiggle room. Like you have to succeed and you have to succeed right away, which is like crazy because anyone who hires a new head coach, you get 9 wins in your first year, you probably feel pretty good. But like the vibes there are really, really awful. They're bad. I don't think they're going to fire him because $70 million is a lot of money. But the whole thing is just like, it's crazy. That is not an Alabama football team. It doesn't look like it.
Well, you say they're not going to fire him because $70 million is a lot of money, and it is, obviously. But when you've bloated that fan base on the success of the last 17 years, they're not going to sit there and take this very long. Like, I would assume that they would be more cutthroat about that than any program in the nation, given how spoiled that fan base is.
And Dan, keep in mind, they also saved so much money on not firing their head coach because all the other coaches were chasing Nick Saban. They've got 20 years of never having to have that conversation.
This is nuts what's happening in Alabama when you consider what Lane Kiffin told us, which is every time I stepped on the field, I knew we had the bigger, better players. Every single time I'm looking at the other sideline, they're not as big and strong and fast as us. And so, of course, we're going to win most of the games. If you eliminate that, and now all of a sudden you've got an as well undisciplined football team that's getting manhandled. It was an interesting, gleeful thing, but I thought that last night and what happened to Bellichick was even more gleeful because we've seen Alabama doing some losing in recent years. And we haven't seen a coach going into this offseason coming in and getting embarrassed by a point total he'd never allowed at any level. So, Lucy, you explain to me what it is that's happening there. Why are so many people delighting in the downfall of Bill Belichick and presuming that this is what's going to be so?
But, Dan, did you see the first drive? Did you see that? That was great.
Skip Bayless. Awesome. What did Skip Bayless say about the first drive?
At 8:16 p.m., Skip Bayless tweeted, "Wow, Belichick has a national championship offense. Heels just shredded Frog's defense."
Oh, that's so great. I think Bill Belichick is sort of in that same sort of Alabama Saban realm where we as sports fans are so used to him winning all the time and doing it in a way that you're like, everyone else is suffering because nothing is fun and you've taken all the good things and you've hoarded them. Well, now you're at a different sport. You're at a school that's like just kind of a weird fit. You're in the ACC. Like to see him go out and just completely just like
have a dud of a game, which I don't think is going to be like the exception. I don't think this is just like TCU is really good, although I do think TCU is a good football team. Like, you have 70 new players. You are playing in a different sport that plays a different style of football. You are the oldest coach in all of college football trying to relate to 18-year-olds. Like, the whole vibe of it was just like, this isn't going to work. And I think it's so important to acknowledge that the ACC has changed how they give out their TV revenue, where it was just like equally spread out across the schools, but they've changed the format and the system, so it's based off of TV ratings now, which makes this hire still probably a good thing for Carolina, because I think they're going to make a lot of money off this, because people are going to tune in, especially they're going to tune in to see Bill Belichick be really terrible at his job.
I don't understand why the reaction that people are having to Belichick losing the way he did last night is surprising anyone. Like, he's been nasty for years. What, like, even earlier, you know, that it's a petty reaction from people like me, because I love what I watched last night. Why is it petty? He's been a nasty man for a really long time.
Right.
I'm glad that they're terrible, and I'm glad that he's losing.
I know, but the one thing I would say is let's stop with the tarnish his legacy stuff. He could go 3-9 this season and quit, and he's still got all the rings, all the Super Bowl rings. His legacy is set, period.
I don't know about that. Like, he made the choice to take this job and to go to college football and to be in the ACC, and you're not going to be able to succeed at this level. Like, your competition is Dave Doran now, and you don't think that you're going to be able to, like, be the best. I feel like this move was what we all expected it to be. It was so clearly, hey, I just need something to do until the NFL calls me again. Unfortunately, I think he thought he would win a little bit more in the process and not look so bad, so he might have hurt his own chances. But, like, this is how he's choosing to end his career, then, like, fine, take the consequences of that.
I mean, to make this choice, per OptaStats, TCU is the only FBS team in the last 20 seasons to have two 25-plus yard rushing touchdowns, a 25-plus yard passing touchdown, a 25-plus yard interception return for a touchdown, and a 25-plus yard fumble return for a touchdown, all in the same game. Belichick had never allowed all of that over an entire season as a head coach.
His team was a joke last night, and I do think there's a lot more that can be said for his legacy based on what happens with North Carolina, because, look, if we thought that the discussion was done as far as Brady, Bellichick, when Brady left the Patriots and then won a Super Bowl with someone else, what's it going to look like now when Bellichick finally left New England and, he's also terrible over here while Brady won a Super Bowl over there? Like, I still think there's a lot of this story to be written potentially.
Yeah, but Zaz, you're a journalist. In the broad view,
finally,
in the broad view, the lead story of the lead paragraph of his obituary is 6-time Super Bowl winner.
Yes,
and North Carolina is maybe lower in the story.
Yes, but Brady winning elsewhere was like, see, Brady, he's the guy. You don't think now Belichick going elsewhere exacerbates that whole opinion?
It's somewhat. Just somewhat. I don't think
you may be right.
I don't think anything overshadows those Super Bowls. It's just that.
Well, but if this can't tarnish legacy, then legacy cannot be tarnished. Not this game, but I'm just talking about an ending unlike any that we have ever seen. The stats of him with Tom Brady and apart from Tom Brady are jarring. I will read them to you in a moment. But I do wonder how that docuseries of their life is going to feel when we're watching a relationship that's being featured for the defensive coordinator at Vanderbilt or Wake Forest, because that's Belichick's next stop on this particular tour is being defensive coordinator somewhere, and I'm sure Love will follow him wherever he goes. What, did you just snort? What happened?
That was a snort.
What just happened? What did just happen?
Really funny to me.
That was a snort. Who snorts anymore? Lucy, thank you for being on the show.
Do we laugh, nominee?
Welcome back. We are thrilled to have you back this year. Thank you. You're going to kill it all season.
Bye, guys. Have fun. Make good choices.
I don't know if we're going to do that around here. I do want to talk a little bit more about Bellichick, but we also have our Sooie winners to get to, because this is an interesting delight to see happening, because this guy ruled 20 years of football in a way that we've never seen.
I think Zaslow, it wasn't said loud enough. Last night was embarrassing.
It was a joke.
It was a joke. You went through an entire fall camp of evaluation, and you rolled out this offense with Freddie Kitchens.
Doing stupid documentaries and sit-downs with the girlfriend, and then that with all those dignitaries who were in the team. That's what you put out there? It was a joke.
This is the quarterback you landed on. You really think that you're that much smarter than everybody else, that you can win with Freddie Kitchens and this quarterback and do your style? Like, your team looked so in over its head. And keep in mind, UNC, understand, they had a bad year last year, 6-7. This wasn't a program in tatters. Right, this is a program that, from a football perspective, has been in the mix in that conference.
They've won 6 games or more. I think 6 consecutive seasons.
Let me just stop you for just a second, because I watched that North Carolina football team after it lost to James Madison in a game where James Madison had 50 at the half, and I'm like, how is this possible?
James Madison's been good the past couple of years.
But Billy, on the road to have 52 points at the half against North Carolina and be up something like 52-21 didn't make sense to me.
I understand, but you can't have that couch your entire view. Like, let's take a treetop view here on North Carolina and say this isn't the disaster.
No, my point is their defense was really bad last year, and my point is that what he had to come in and fix when his standard is professional football players who are champions look like this. Can I go find a defense that makes me smarter than everyone else? And for a half, he's losing 20-7 or whatever it was, 21-7. He goes in at halftime, and now America is expectant. Now the genius will make the adjustments. The hell, I saw Marcus Freeman make adjustments. I know Cristobal helped him, but I saw Marcus Freeman make adjustments that altered a team that was outmatched physically so that the second half didn't feel like that. And what happens out of the locker room? Kickoff return for a touchdown, 75 yards, because he doesn't actually have a good team. That much can be obvious, stated off of game one. We don't need any more evidence, but he's placed the bar in a place where if he is actually what many of us have believed him to be, he's just lowered the expectation so much that by doing the opposite of what Deion did at Colorado against TCU, he's lowered the expectation so much in one game that now no one expects anything. Like you've gone from where the expectations were, which were inflating the point spread on a team that wasn't ready, to agree with me on this. So much room for improvement that he can actually improve it, because this has to be the worst that it looks, correct?
In a month they have Clemson, they're going to get murdered.
Dan, before the season, I was kind of there with you when they announced this. I'm like, you said, quote, this beast is coming to college football. And we were all laughing. Like, what does Mario Cristobal have for Bill Belichick? This guy's going to stroll into a joke conference and totally outmatch these head coaches there.
There's this narrative that, look what he did to NFL head coaches. College coaches stand no chance against him. Dude is washed.
And I was there with you initially, and then I saw his whole approach to talent acquisition, and he genuinely approached this with an arrogance as if he were smart. No, I'll develop these guys. Yep. I don't need to play the same game everybody else is. And then you realize, late in that transfer portal window, dude went to the portal heavy, but it was a little too late. Like, this guy has to learn not just the game, an entire culture. There is a business model that you have to establish in order to compete. And he just thought with Bill Belichick and the whole gravitas, he can just stroll in there, and he got embarrassed. Embarrassed by a solid team, a team that was in the national championship a couple of years ago.
But this wasn't the team that Colorado beat a couple years ago coming off of the national championship game.
No. Like, if he's doing that out the gates, you're right. There's some guys on that schedule that are going to push those dudes around.
If everything you guys are saying is true, it can't be overstated how embarrassing and humiliating his college debut was. But this is true, too. It's one effing game. And when I say don't bring legacy into this, the analogy I would use is Michael Jordan. Nobody cares that he was a lousy owner because he was Michael Jordan. Nobody's going to care that Bill Belichick, in the winter of his career, had 1 or 2 bad seasons in college. He's still
you're saying no one's going to care, but they're going to care while it's happening.
They're going to care in North Carolina.
Yeah, but those are different things, like not caring about Michael Jordan's legacy. He wasn't playing for the Bobcats. Like, he was the owner. Belichick is still coaching.
Right, I get that.
It'd be like if Jordan was still playing and then he was terrible. No, Belichick is still doing the thing that he's supposed to be really great at, except his resume tells us when he doesn't have Brady, he's actually terrible.
Do you think if Belichick knew how the rest of the game was going to play out, he would have enjoyed that first touchdown more? Everyone was like, oh, look at him. He's not smiling. He's all business. I feel like if he knew he was going to get blown out after that, he would have given a few high fives, maybe a smirk.
Did you see the Bellichick move that he pulled before the game where they released the depth chart?
Oh,
Someone
see,
took a picture.
yeah,
and
Let's
put
see
it out
this
on
thing.
Twitter.
This is what I'm talking about, man.
There's the depth chart.
It's
And
empty.
if you can zoom in, it's just the name of every position, and there are 0 players listed under any position.
He's going to trick them. He's going
no depth chart.
He's going so that he can trick them because he wants to give them no information.
Well, he didn't want TCU to know what was coming.
Do you think they know they can go on ESPN.com? They could probably find the depth chart. Do you think they know?
Well, a lot of coaches do that. Mario Cristobal says or somebody on about half of the positions.
Yeah,
on the
they're
team.
secretive lunatics. Many of them don't have functioning normal relationships in their life because of how lopsided the having to compete against Mario Cristobal, who's a crazy person, because he's going to try and out Mario Cristobal. We saw in that Miami game. We saw how Miami will win, and we saw how Miami will lose. We saw a team that was disciplined on defense the hardest way, which is to be physical and disciplined. Those teams of Mario Cristobal have not been that. And what you saw at the end of the first half, where they have 18 seconds left, they score a touchdown, but it's all the 2 touchdown passes required great throws from the quarterback, a great catch from a wide receiver, could have been disaster plays under other circumstances. But I thought watching the game between Miami and Notre Dame, I thought it was 2 things, and both of these things can be true. Miami should be happy that it wins that game no matter what, because Miami often loses that game for a lot of reasons. And Miami fans being upset with Mario Cristobal because he did all the things in that game that will lose you a game when you have the physical advantages against a team. When you have physical advantages, offensive and defensive line, and another team gives you 2 turnovers, that game should not be close. And a lot of people are complaining in the Miami. A lot of people are complaining that Mario Cristobal went very conservative. They're not wrong.
They should be happy that he trusted a defense that was among the worst we've ever seen just a couple of months ago. It took him a couple of months to go into a game against Notre Dame and say, you know what, I'm going to let my defense win this game. They wasted the greatest offense this program has ever had, and they could not stop anybody. Pedestrian offenses would run at will. And he leaned on the defense to win a game against the national runner-up. And he almost blew this game. It's a 2-score game. That game turned into a rock fight at times. And to your point about the composure and the culture and the discipline, Dan, there was one play that I saw. I didn't notice it during the game, but JoJo Trader got picked up by his face mask by a Notre Dame player, dragged about 10 yards. This all happened right in front of the officials, who weren't great on the day. JoJo Trader did nothing in retaliation. No flag was thrown. The retaliation would have certainly drawn a flag. You remember how Miami season ended last year at Syracuse? Jacoby George, who we're always worried about losing his mind and backing Miami up. I went through fall camp. I'm like, who's the guy that we're worried about? If this dude can put it all together, then we're good. But it took several years to finally weed that stuff out of the locker room. But these dudes have discipline now, and they've bought into a culture. They're all thinking the same way.
They had one bust. They had one play. You can't have it when they had it.
One bad play.
You
on defense.
You cannot have it when they had it because there were no big plays in that game. And I think the Notre Dame offense is capable of a great many big plays. Right. And so I was surprised to see Miami's defense that improved. I was surprised to see them that physical and disciplined because Cristobal teams do get penalized a lot. That was a shocking stat Lucy just gave us, that every damn game DeBoer plays in, he's got more penalties than the other team.
That's not what good football teams
Well, but it's
do.
certainly not what Alabama is used to, because when do you get penalties often? It's not just discipline. It's, these guys are too big, strong, and fast, so I have to cheat to stop them. Yeah. Like, that's how a lot of people are playing against Alabama.
Jeremiah Love is a great player, and Reuben Bain knew Jeremiah Love from that film study because one of his notes, as we saw earlier, were bleep Jeremiah Love. But we were talking about this on Monday, and it did feel like they should have gotten him involved in the game a little bit more. Too many quarterback keepers on those RPOs. And then I looked at the stats. Everybody was upset that Jeremiah Love just got 10 carries in that game. Jeremiah Love last year got 11 carries a game. They fed him the same amount. The problem was the 3.3 yards per carry. And if Jeremiah Love played Miami's defense in the CFP last year, he would have gone for 300 yards on the ground.
Right. That was the thing that stood out to me the most about the game, where, last year when Canes fans are complaining about they should have been allowed in the playoff, It's like, and what? So they could just get their shit kicked in at some Big Ten team in the first round of the playoffs? That team that I watched on Sunday night, that team would have played with anyone. Like, it was a major difference what we were watching Sunday. That team there plays with anyone.
The game was essentially won. Scoring right before half and then taking the ball and holding it for 7.5 minutes.
It was so impressive that first drive.
There were 14 points scored in like a 12.5-minute span, where that's what it has to look like. Yes, I know we get all super excited where Cam Ward is having to chase the game and put up as many possible points as possible because you can't keep any teams under 40 points. But that's how you choke a game away, and that's how it's going to have to look in November.
Canes fans are cool with that first drive in the third quarter because everyone's freaking out about Mario's the offense in the second half.
Well, everything after that. So let me just stop everyone for a second when I say on display there, a future Monday show, if you had to bet on it, are we going to be saying in a future Monday show, oh, they had that one, but all the Cristobal things happen where you don't understand how they lost. If they'd lost that game because they missed a 47-yard field goal, that game would have been over, and I'd be really confused as to how they lost that game with a 2-turnover advantage and advantages on the offensive and defensive line. And I'd be in here saying, good God, they weren't stopped by Notre Dame running the ball. They just kept running between the tackles because they're not doing anything creative on the corners, and everyone knows statistically. What's the caveman Cristobal going to do? He's going to punch you in the face because he wants to run it down the middle of the field empirically, numerically, more than anyone. He wants to have. He was the one recruiting out for Alabama when they got that big. What he wants is we will punch you in the face and run right down the middle of the field when we wish to because we're bigger and stronger than you. But they're not yet.
Everyone was saying that was a conservative play call. Yeah, but what's conservative about 6 yards a clip? Notre Dame got a stop there and then scored right afterwards, and that's what happens with a 2-score game.
The conservative part that I had an issue with was on the last drive, all right? We're tied at 24, and it came down to, you know what? Like, this isn't the NFL. These kickers can miss any kick in college. And Cristobal was seemingly totally good with a 47-yard field goal. That is, in the NFL,
as if he still had Carlos Huerta or Borregales or any of these guys.
That's a gimme in the NFL. In college, these kickers miss from everywhere. I would have rather not kick a 47-yard
That kick also would have been good from 65.
I get it.
Bombed it.
Yeah, but if he missed it, Mike, we're having it. If he missed it,
I was terrified before the kick.
We would have no explanation for how that game was lost. We'd be like on quarterback draws,
and we would have joined Penn State in that. Like, how did Notre Dame come into this stadium yet again? The other team controlled the game, and yet Notre Dame is victorious at the end. That team is a resilient, tough team, and I'm not going to apologize for winning. Because a double-digit lead ended up being a 3-point spread? Get out of here. They just beat Notre Dame, who's going to be good and get better as the season goes on.
And by the way, when you describe Mario Cristobal as a guy who just wants to play big and to run the ball up your throat, that certainly wasn't the case last year when Cam Ward was throwing the ball all over the field and setting.
No, it was. Statistically, they ran between the tackles more than any team but Baylor.
And they also set passing records that had
understood, but
decades.
I'm just telling you that philosophically, what the man does was on display there. If you had to bet and be right or wrong and win money, we will be doing a Monday show this season where we're talking about how the Miami Hurricanes lost a game inexplicably because of what their coach did.
When they lost to Syracuse and they were up 21-0, no one was saying that offense got conservative. I was saying they should have ran it more because they were running at 7 yards per carry in that game, but they didn't, and they blew a 21-0 lead. You couldn't trust the defense. Cam Ward was not being conservative in that game. They blew it because of their approach to it.
Yes.
That is not how you win in college football at the highest level.
Right, and the defense is appreciably better this year. But you're talking as if they did lose.
I'm just saying some of the fan base is saying this. It's not even what I'm saying, but you have to bet and be right. Answer my question.
And to the fan base, I would say get real. You just beat the number 6 team in the country. You were an underdog. You beat them. Why are you parsing the victory?
Because I think you're looking bigger picture.
They almost lost.
I think we're looking bigger picture.
I don't care that they almost.
They did blow a 10-point lead.
Who cares?
So it's a 10-point lead.
Who cares?
Who cares? They won.
We're not talking about a 28-point lead.
Mike, you also last week were saying they were going to win by 3
I thought they were
scores.
going to rip their heads off. And for a while there, it looked like
it
they
at one point.
should have, is my point. They should have.
Credit to the opponent.
You can't say they should have.
A little
They
credit
didn't.
to the opponent.
Look, I'm going to do this again because 4 straight possessions without a first down. I understand they had the number 1 offense in the sport last year, but that offense, I think, only went 3 possessions without a first down a couple of times. It's not because the offense was stopped by defensive players who were running all over the field defending against creative offense. It was because they were running it straight into the middle of the line, and they got the ball taken away from them. And then all of a sudden, what's coming back down to the field on you is quarterback draws and an inexperienced quarterback getting confidence because of how you played the game offensively the rest of the way after that majestic drive that should be the drive that you put that he's got. That right there, that drive is the best drive that Mario Cristobal's team has had against a good team since he's been here.
I think that they're capable of getting those drives when they need it. That game called for something different in that run where they went 4 drives without a first down. They did get a field goal. Why? Because the defense made a point. If you want to go at Mario Cristobal for being conservative and trusting a defense to win a game, then give him credit for having that defense that was atrocious last year win the game.
When you or a Canes fan tell me Mario Cristobal in the second half was playing not to lose, I'm saying good for him because guess what? He didn't lose.
And what are you saying if that field goal is missed or blocked in return for a touchdown?
Then you're so
because
sure
it was from 47 yards out.
I don't
I'd be saying
understand.
I wish we weren't settling for a 47.
Well, then Notre Dame also would have had to go back and score.
That's the thing.
It was tied at the time.
You miss me with assuming that Notre Dame comes back, and Miami was controlling that game.
Their 2-minute drill looked disastrous.
And you can play the what-if game on 90% of results in all of sports.
After the pick, Notre Dame scored on 3 of its last four possessions after not doing anything all game because they were with a quarterback that shouldn't be winning that game in that position. Has no reason to be winning that game in that position.
And he didn't.
I know, but the lead was given away, and there was a tie game. And what you're telling me, which is reasonable criticism, wow, the way they played the end of the game, I would have really liked them to just hold the ball the rest of the game, okay? Especially after getting that third and short conversion as momentum the way you did. Would have liked them to not give the ball back with a minute left. But settling for a 40-yard field goal with a guy who kicked 4 field goals successfully at FAU, okay, he did make it. But if he misses it and Notre Dame comes back and scores, you guys would be so confused about how Miami lost that football game.
I understand the 47-yard field for what it's worth, and you could certainly have concerns about the accuracy of the kicker.
It's 4 for 11 from that distance,
I understand.
right?
The staff, when he was in fall camp, said this is the strongest leg we've ever seen.
And that field goal would have been good from 57 yards.
If that had hit the upright, like the show he's doing today,
They didn't. Don't do the show then.
You're doing the show.
Stop doing that show. They won.